Hello everyone, welcome to this ACM Sigmetrics 2020 virtual presentation. My name is Apostolos. I am a postdoctoral researcher at École Polytechnique Fédérale de Lausanne in Switzerland. In this video, I will talk to you about our paper titled Measuring Membership Privacy on Aggregate Location Time Series. This is joint work with Carmela Troncoso, also from EPFL, and Emiliano De Cristofaro from University College London and the Alan Turing Institute. In the era of big data and machine learning, mobility analytics play a crucial role as they enable tasks such as journey planning and congestion control that aim to improve quality of lives in modern cities. However, to perform such analytics, there is need for large-scale collection and usage of users' location data, and this raises severe privacy concerns because location data contain information about where people live, where they work, where they shop, what are their habits, their political or religious inclinations. An option would be to provide analysts with access to anonymized location traces, but many years of research now has shown that the nature of location data is such that anonymizing location data is actually ineffective. To this end, a modern approach that is used for mobility analytics is to provide analysts with access to aggregate location statistics. For instance, time series that indicate the number of people that transit through the location of a city over time. This approach is considered privacy friendly because individual user location data is hidden along with that of the crowd. And still, aggregate location statistics enable some useful mobility analytic tasks. For instance, analysts can build models that forecast the volumes of traffic in regions of a city or detect events that are out of the ordinary due to some mobility anomalies. Furthermore, aggregate location statistics can enable tasks such as hotspot discovery, where the aim is to detect the busiest location given a specific point in time, or map inference, where the aim is to classify locations to residential, business, or undetermined ones based on their mobility patterns. And aggregation is widely used in the real world. For instance, the Uber Movement project uses aggregate location data from its platform to enable urban planning in some cities that it is deployed. Waze crowdsources speed statistics to build traffic heat maps, and the Telefonica Smart Steps project uses aggregate location data from cell towers for business analytics. However, very recent research has shown that even location aggregates might leak some private information about individual users. For instance, it has been shown that location aggregates can be exploited to profile or localize users, to extract individual user trajectories from the aggregates, or to perform an attack known as membership inference, where the aim of the adversary is to distinguish if a particular user has contributed to the aggregates or not. This last type of attack is the main focus of this work, and it's an important attack to study because it has severe privacy implications if the aggregates relate to a group sharing a sensitive characteristics, for instance, a certain disease or a certain amount on income. And because the membership inference attack is only a first step to other more invasive privacy attacks. While the feasibility of the membership inference attack has been demonstrated in the past, we still do not have a clear understanding why it works and what can we do to defend against it. So in this work, we set to perform a large-scale measurement study aiming to gain a deeper understanding of membership inference attacks on aggregate location time series. In particular, we want to answer questions such as which spatiotemporal factors contribute to the inference, which users are more vulnerable than others. Furthermore, we want to understand what defenses can we apply to aggregate location time series against membership inference. In particular, how well the known defenses from the location privacy literature, such as generalization, hiding, and perturbation, defend against the membership inference attack, and how well do they retain the utility for mobility analytic tasks, such as traffic forecasting and hotspot discovery. To realize our measurement study, we rely on two real-world mobility datasets. The first one is from the Transport for London Authority, which contains commuter trips of Londoners back in 2010 over a period of 1 month. This dataset contains more than 60 million trips performed by 4 million users that commute over 582 stations. The dataset is quite sparse because the location signal is only available when the users use the transportation network, and regular because commuting patterns tend to be repetitive over time. The second dataset that we use is the San Francisco Cab dataset, which contains GPS mobility traces of taxis in San Francisco over a 3-week period back in 2008. This dataset contains 11 million coordinates generated by 534 cabs, and for the purpose of our study, we focus on a 10 by 10 uniform grid cell over the downtown of San Francisco. Compared to TFL, this is a very dense dataset because the GPS signal is sampled every few seconds, and quite irregular because the taxis location patterns are maintained by client demand. So we use these two datasets to generate hourly time series that indicate the number of users in locations of the city, such as stations or grid cells of the San Francisco map. Let's now focus on the first part of our study, which aims at understanding better membership inference attacks on aggregate location time series. The methodology that we employ is the following. From each dataset, we randomly pick 150 users from various mobility groups, and we run the membership inference attack against them. To do this, we follow a sample and aggregate approach that has been proposed in the literature and generate balanced datasets of groups that include and exclude the target, and we aggregate the location to generate aggregate location time series. For this particular step, we assume that the adversary has some prior information about the targets. For instance, he might know their actual location data, or he might know their location data observed over a past period. On the dataset of multiple aggregate location time series that we generate for each victim, we perform dimensionality reduction with principal component analysis, aiming to extract the valuable information. Then we feed these resulting components to a logistic regression classifier that aims to distinguish if the particular victim contributed to the aggregates or not. This combination of classification and dimensionality reduction allows us to gain a better understanding of the attack. We look at the classifier weights to identify which components are the most important for a particular victim, and then we look inside those components to find the correlation coefficients with the original spatiotemporal factors. Doing this over the multiple victims that we attack, we can generate aggregate heat maps that shows us which spatiotemporal data points are overall important for the attack. For instance, for the transport for Lawton dataset, when the adversary has some information about the target's past location patterns, we clearly see data points with high correlation coefficients during commuting hours. This indicates that it is the commuter regularity that actually makes the membership inference attack feasible in this adversarial setting. When we plot a similar heat map on the San Francisco CAP dataset, when the adversary knows the target's location data, overall we see a lot of data points with high correlation coefficient. This indicates that the dense GPS trajectories offer a large attack surface. When we look a bit more closely, we also find some data points with even higher correlation coefficients. When we do some investigation, we find that these are location at times that are a bit sparser than the others, which indicates that cabs that travel at these location at times can be vulnerable to membership inference attack. Then we aim to understand which users are more vulnerable to the membership inference attack than others. To do this, we separate two groups, those users from our datasets for which the membership inference attack works very well and those that it doesn't work that well. And from their trajectories, we extract various characteristics such as the total number of events, the unique locations, the visits, their activity, their events over specific times of the week, the spatial and temporal entropy, and the uniqueness of their mobility patterns, and we feed these statistics to a random forest classifier that aims to distinguish between the two groups. Then we look at the feature importance of the classifier to understand what are those features that separate the two groups. For the transport for Lawton dataset, we find that it's actually the unique locations is the most important feature. This indicates that the more unique station a commuter visit, the more vulnerable he is to the membership inference attack. On the contrary, for the San Francisco CAP dataset, we find that what matters is the volume. So we see that the number of locations reported per time slot and the active time slots of a cab are among the distinguished factors. Finally, for both datasets, we find that the uniqueness of the mobility patterns is also an important feature. This indicates that unique mobility patterns are identifiable in the aggregates. Overall, this section of our study has some interesting takeaways. We find that various spatiotemporal factors contribute to the attack, that users who contribute more data points to the aggregates are more susceptible to the membership inference attack. Furthermore, we find that movements in sparse locations and times can ease the membership inference attack, and that unique or regular mobility patterns can reveal the user's membership to the aggregate location time series. The second part of our study aims at evaluating defenses against the membership inference attack. To this end, we turn to well-known families of defenses from the location privacy literature, such as generalization, hiding, and perturbation. In the setting of aggregate location time series, generalization can take place over the spatial, the temporal, or the data domain. For instance, let's assume a simple toy example where the aggregate location time series is described by this matrix, where rows are locations, columns are time slots, and the counts the values of the matrix are the counts of people in these locations and time. We can apply special generalization by lowering the spatial resolution and group essentially locations together. We can apply temporal generalization by lowering the temporal resolution and grouping time slots together, or we can apply data generalization by rounding the counts of this matrix. Hiding techniques can resolve to sampling or suppression, and essentially the idea here is, again with the toy example of aggregate location time series, is to provide the analysts with a version of the matrix where some points of these data points of this matrix are suppressed. Finally, perturbation techniques are used to achieve the guarantees of differential privacy with the state-of-the-art defense against membership inference attacks, or weaker notions such as crowd-pleading privacy. The idea of perturbation techniques is to, again, given the toy example, is to carefully sample some noise mask that is added on top of the aggregate location time series, and analysts are provided with the perturbed aggregate location time series to perform their tasks. For all these families of defenses, their variants and their various parameters, we measure the privacy gain, which is the normalized decrease in the attack's performance when it is performed on the defended aggregates compared to when it is performed on the raw aggregates. We have a lot of experiments in our paper with various variants of these defenses and parameters. However, for the sake of time, I will give you here the main takeaways from this section. We find that spatiotemporal generalization does not protect against the membership inference attack on aggregate location time series. This shows that both space and time contain important information for the attack. On the other hand, we find that data generalization can be configured to protect against the membership inference attack. Furthermore, hiding techniques such as sampling or suppression, we find that they work better when the input signal is sparse. So it works better on the Transmorpholoton dataset compared to the San Francisco CAP dataset. When it comes to perturbation, techniques that achieve differential privacy unexpectedly yield very high gains in privacy, but we also observe that similar protection levels can be reached with less noise and weaker privacy notions. When we do some case studies, we also find that combining defenses can boost the privacy gain. For instance, applying sampling before perturbation can boost significantly the privacy gain. In the last part of our study, we aim at understanding what are the privacy utility trade-offs that are achieved by these various defenses that we experiment with. To this end, we turn to the various mobility analytics that we discussed in the introduction of this talk, such as traffic forecasting, anomaly detection, hotspot discovery, and map inference. And for each of these tasks, we choose a suitable metric that can capture the quality of the task when it is performed. For instance, for traffic forecasting, we measure the mean relative error of the predictions. And for hotspot discovery, we measure the F1 score of how well we capture the hotspots in a particular time slot. And for all of the defenses that we experiment with and their parameters, we measure the utility loss, which is the decrease in the utility when we perform the same mobility analytic tasks on raw aggregate location time series versus when we perform it on the defended aggregate location time series. Doing this, we can measure the privacy utility trade-offs that these defenses yield for these mobility analytics, and we generate plots which have on the y-axis the privacy gain, on the x-axis the utility loss, and that show us how well these defenses based on their parameters can balance this inherent trade-off. Ideally, we would like to obtain data points of the defenses on the upper left corner where we will have high privacy gain and very small utility loss. However, as we observe, there is no free lunch. Interestingly, we observe that variable defenses yield variable trade-offs. For instance, we have defenses that can cover the whole range of privacy gain by trading some utility. We have defenses that cannot cover the whole privacy gain, even if they are parameterized at the extreme with extreme parameters. And we have some defenses that can increase the privacy gain without significantly losing utility. Interestingly, we observe that these patterns that we observe in this plot are becoming different when we consider different mobility analytic tasks. For instance, when it comes to traffic forecasting, on the left plot, we see that the black line, which is data generalization, could yield some reasonable trade-offs. But when it comes to hotspot discovery, sampling or a combination of sampling and perturbation could yield some even more reasonable trade-offs. Overall, this section shows that different defenses yield variable trade-offs for various analytics. We do not find the single defense that preserves the utility of the analytics that for arbitrary application. We also find that spatiotemporal generalization not only yields poor privacy, but also poor utility, whereas other defenses can achieve reasonable trade-offs only for specific tasks. For instance, data generalization can be used for traffic forecasting, hiding techniques can be used for map inference, perturbation techniques that achieve differential privacy can be used for hotspot discovery, whereas the combination of sampling and perturbation could be used for anomaly detection. To conclude, in this work, we performed a large-scale measurement study aiming to understand better membership inference attacks on aggregate location time series. We found that regular and uncommon mobility patterns are easy to recognize in the aggregates. Also, we found that size matters, that users who contribute more data to the aggregates are easier to attack. Overall, we did not find a single characteristic that can be singled out and thwart the attack at all fronts. And as such, there does not exist a single defense that protects against the membership inference attack while enabling arbitrary mobility analytics. When we studied different defenses based on generalization, hiding, and perturbation, we found that they yield variable privacy utility trade-offs for different settings and analytics. However, we identified some defenses that yield reasonable trade-offs, but only for specific tasks. Overall, our measurement study shows that there is still room for improvement and that there is need for novel work on the design of defenses against membership inference attacks on aggregate location time series that do not sacrifice utility in such an extent. This is the end of my presentation. I would like to thank you for your attention. If you are interested in more details, you can see the full details of our paper in the following link. I hope you enjoyed this virtual presentation, and goodbye.